Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the class of 2025 Brown University School of Public Health graduates. My name is Ashish Jha. I'm the Dean of the Public Health School, and it is really exciting and fun to be with all of you here this afternoon. It is really an honor to celebrate with all of you. Now, many of you are earning your bachelor's degrees, many of you are earning your master's degrees, some of you are earning your PhDs. All of you have done something remarkable and deserve this moment to be recognized. Now, we've been doing a lot of celebrating and recognizing of all of you over the last couple of days, and that's important, and we're going to do more of that in the next couple of hours. But let's be honest, it's not just about you. It's about your families. It's about your friends who supported you in the journey, celebrated with you, stood by you. So let me ask some questions here. Are there any parents in the crowd? Yeah. How about grandparents? Any grandparents make it? I see a few back there. I like it. Siblings, or people who are willing to admit they're siblings? How about spouses and partners? Excellent. Do we have any children of graduates? All right, a little smattering. I like that. Aunts, uncles, any distant relatives? And what about friends, people who might as well be relatives? All right, now I know we're celebrating the graduates, but really congratulations to all of you as well for making it through this time period. And I know I said this on Friday, but I'll say it again. I know a lot of you were probably thinking at some point in the last few years, is this person gonna actually make it? They did. Let's give a big round of applause to our extraordinary folks who helped you through this time period. I also want to take a moment to recognize our extraordinary faculty, because they're the ones who guided you with knowledge and wisdom and care. And I want to make sure I get a chance to recognize our founding dean, Fox Weddle, who just won the Rosenberger Award. She created this school. She, along with Vince Moore and a couple other faculty members, pulled this school out of the medical school. It was a great medical school. It was great to be there. Created a brand new school of public health about 11 years ago. And we all owe Fox a huge debt of gratitude for creating the Brown School of Public Health. Now, we're all here because all of you, at some point in the last few years, maybe it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, maybe for our PhD students it was like 7 or 8 years ago, you made a decision to go into public health. It was a remarkable choice. And maybe it was a choice that elicited some questions from people like, what is public health? Or what are you going to do with that degree? And maybe a few years ago, you might have answered, I'm going to go work at the CDC. Still there, people, still there. Or you might have said, I'm going to do research that's funded by NIH. Also still there. Maybe you thought about doing global health. I remember going into public health as a physician. I was really interested in how to take really important policy questions and answer them in a way that made a difference in people's lives. And my family and friends were like, don't you just want to be a doctor? And I said, no, being a doctor is awesome. It's great. It is a huge honor and privilege. But the truth is, when I was in clinic and I would see people and I would see what was shaping their lives and what was shaping their health, it was very clear to me that there was only so much I can do in a clinic or so much I could do in the hospital. That what was happening in their homes, what was happening in their workplaces, what was happening in the neighborhoods and in their communities had this very large effect on their health in a way that I could only tinker around the edges on. And that's what motivated me to go into public health, and I suspect many of you were motivated by similar things. Today, given what is happening in Washington and elsewhere, it may feel a little bit harder to answer the question. It may even feel scarier to answer the question, what are you going to do with public health? And let me be very clear about something. The haphazard cuts to research and staffing and support for states and local health agencies is going to do enormous harm to the health and well-being of the people in Rhode Island, to the health and well-being of people in America, and to the health and well-being of the people around the world. These cuts are thoughtless, and they are senseless, and they are deeply destructive. You gotta call a spade a spade. These are bad things that are happening. And they may be upending many of your own ideas about what you're gonna go do with public health. You might have seriously thought about going to CDC and now wondering, are there gonna be job opportunities there? And I get that. It's part of the anxiety that we all feel at this moment. But I do believe that what you have learned here at Brown is going to make an enormous difference in your careers and in the lives of people for years to come. Because we do not train people to just be a gear in the machinery of public health. We did not just prepare you to fulfill your duties in one job description. And if we have done our job right, if we have been the kind of collaborators you needed, we have helped you discover your power to improve the health of all people in many different ways. Now, some of the institutions we know and love, like CDC, like USAID, like NIH, are undergoing tremendous change. But here's a really important point. Public health has never been defined by its institutions or its programs. And public health, throughout its entire history, has always demanded innovation and creativity. At its core, public health is about identifying problems, something that holds people back in their own aspirations to live a long, healthy, fulfilling life. And at its core, public health is about committing to solving those problems and to pursuing those solutions relentlessly. That was true more than 20 years ago when I decided to go into public health. It's still true today. And it will be true in the years and decades to come. And that's why I remain confident that because the problems of public health are not going away, the people needed to solve those problems are going to be in demand more than ever. Now, you are a relentless group of graduates, trained well, focused not on institutions, but on the people we need to serve. And I know you're going to take your training and that purpose, and you're going to do great things with it. Now, we are very proud of this class, very proud to walk alongside you, and am confident, and I really am, that you're going to do extraordinary things. Now, none of this is to sugarcoat that there are hard days ahead for public health. And hard days call for people with great training and great commitment and clarity of purpose to do hard things. You are those people. And when I think about the public health problems our country faces, I can think of no better group of graduates than all of you to go solve those problems. So there is important work ahead, but that starts tomorrow. Today we celebrate. Congratulations to the class of 2025. All right, so as we continue to celebrate, it is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker. Now at Brown, we often talk about leadership that is bold and imaginative and deeply committed to the public good. Today's speaker embodies all of that and more. I met Piyush Tiwari more than a decade ago. He had started at that time a small nonprofit organization focused on trying to improve road safety in India. An impossible task. By the way, if you've ever been to India or many of these countries and walked along the roads, you think improving road safety in India is a very, very difficult task. And when I met him, he had been working on getting a national Good Samaritan law passed, a Herculean effort, I thought. And I remember going for a walk with him in Harvard Square, and we were talking about his work. And he said when he couldn't get the Indian parliament to pass the law that was so necessary, he sued the government of India. I was like, you did what? You sued the government of India? And he said, yeah. And went all the way to the Supreme Court and won. And while for most of us, getting a national law passed that would change the legal context in which people were cared for after a road traffic incident would have been enough. It would have been like, job well done, I'm hanging up my hat. That was not Piyush. That was just his beginning. More than 1 million people die, about 1.5 million people die around the world from road traffic accidents. Number 8 killer of people in the world. Number 1 killer of 15 to 29-year-olds in the world. It's a huge problem. And Piyush Tiwari, as founder and CEO of Save Life Foundation, has committed his life to turning that around. His ambition is breathtaking. His relentless focus is even more so. He took one of the highest fatality roadways in India, the Bombay-Pune Expressway, and dropped mortality on that highway by nearly 70%. And he's turning the success of one road into actions on hundreds and thousands of roads across India and across the world. What I love about Piyush, many things, his relentlessness, his focus, but the biggest thing is that he reminds us that one person can still do big things. He graduated from Harvard, but we've decided not to hold that against him. He's received a wide array of awards in social innovation and impact. But he is the model of what it looks like to translate caring about people's health into systemic change using evidence, science, and a relentless pursuit of doing what is right. He embodies everything we hope for in public health. So please join me in welcoming the 2025 Brown School of Public Health keynote speaker, Piyush Tiwari.
Thank you, Ashish. That was exactly as I requested. Dean Dr. Ashish Jha, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished faculty, proud families, and most importantly, the remarkable graduates of Brown School of Public Health. Let me begin by saying what an absolute joy and honor it is for me to stand here today. You've navigated dense research papers, early morning lectures, late night data sets, and probably at least one group project that left you questioning the very concept of groups. And today, you've earned not just a degree, but the right to officially put MPH or PhD after your name on LinkedIn, which, let's be honest, is when it really feels legit. While I studied public administration, not public health, I must admit that I've always had a soft corner for those in your field. After all, you're the ones who don't just try to fix systems, you try to prevent problems from happening in the first place, which in public administration we call ambitious. But in all seriousness, what sets Brown SPH apart and what I've come to admire, besides the incredible leadership you have here on the stage, is the school's deep commitment to equity, to social justice, and to seeing public health not just as a profession, but as a moral responsibility. You've trained here not just to interpret data, but to uplift lives. And for that, the world is already better because of who you are and what you'll go on to do. Now, unbeknownst to me, my own journey with public health began with the sky. I'm 6 years old, and I love planes. My grandfather, a parachute scientist, takes me for scooter rides near the Air Force Base close to home, where I love watching planes take off and land. They make me feel like life is limitless. In the evenings, he sits beside me and reads stories of service and courage, not just to entertain me, but as his way of passing on the values that he holds sacred. He speaks of the special honor and distinction that the uniform brings to a family. I want all of this and more. So my destiny is very simple. I'm going to be a pilot. Years pass. I'm now 17 years old, and I sit for India's prestigious National Defense Academy exam, determined to wear the uniform. The day the envelope arrives, I rush home, heart pounding like the roar of the jets. My hands tremble as I slit it open. I hold my breath, and then I see it. I've cleared it. I've cleared the exam. I scream, I laugh, I almost cry. I run to my parents with the letter held high like a trophy, just like your Brown acceptance letters. My mother hugs me so tightly I can barely breathe. My father's eyes well up with pride. In that moment, everything feels possible. The one-room home we now live in doesn't matter. The sacrifices we've made fade into the background. And what remains is the triumph, a dream within reach. I'm going to Bangalore for interviews and medicals, and I'm going to be a pilot. I begin the week-long selection process, grueling physical tests, team tasks, psychological evaluations. On day 4, a senior officer walks in, pauses dramatically, looks at me, and raises his right thumb. You've cleared the physicals. Yes. Now comes the final step, the medical exam. I walk into the room confident. I've been practicing. I'm fit. I'm ready. I've even skipped dessert for weeks, which, if you know me, is nothing short of a spiritual sacrifice. A few minutes after the exam, the doctor walks into the room. I'm excited with anticipation. She looks at me and says, "You've been rejected." What? Did you know that you have an eye correction? It's minuscule, but you still need 20/20 vision to become a pilot. That's it, just like that. No chance, no appeal. A dream built over 11 years shatters in seconds. I walk out numb. The world feels heavy and unfair. How could something so small carry the weight of so much heartbreak? But here's the thing about rejection. It doesn't shut down your destiny. It only redirects it. That rejection taught me a lesson I would come back to many times. That no matter how hard you work or how deeply you care about something, the world may still say no. But how you respond to that no will ultimately define who you become. In the decade that follows, I take that lesson with me into a career that winds through government and the private sector. I work hard, take on new challenges, and eventually go on to lead a business organization. Life is good, comfortable even, but something feels incomplete. I'm moving forward, but never quite feeling the sky. And then, one afternoon, a phone call changes everything. Shivam, my 16-year-old cousin, is walking home from school. Now, Shivam is this feisty, full-of-life teenager with so many hopes and dreams. We were a decade apart, and to him, I was a mentor. But to me, he was like a son. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a car strikes him. He tries to get up, tries to recover from the impact. But the driver panics, tries to flee the scene, and in a cruel twist of fate, runs over him once again. Shivam still has life in him. With sheer will, he drags himself to the side of the road and props his broken body against a tree. Blood-soaked, in pain, he pleads for help. People stop. Some offer him water. Some even pour it on his face so he remains awake. But no one calls the police, no one calls an ambulance, and no one rushes him to a hospital. For 45 excruciating minutes, he lies there, conscious, suffering, waiting. And then, in full public view, he dies. When I learn the details of how he died, something inside me breaks. I wouldn't even let an animal die like that, forget about a fellow human being. How could this happen to a child in a city, on a busy road, under the watch of thousands of people? We all know what suddenly losing a loved one feels like. But for me, that trauma and grief turned into something else. Anger and a lot of questions. Why did no one help? Why did the driver flee? What if someone had acted sooner? The quest for answers took me on a journey across India. I met lawyers, doctors, police officers, victims' families, anyone who could help me understand. And what I discovered shook me. Nearly 1 million people in the country had died in road crashes in just the previous decade. That Shivam story was not unique. 50% of those killed in road crashes died despite having treatable injuries. Many of them simply did not get help. And the inaction of bystanders we saw wasn't due to apathy. It was driven by fear, a profound, paralyzing fear of police harassment, endless legal entanglements, and in some cases, even being implicated in the case. There was no legal protection if you helped someone. A simple act of humanity could destroy your life. We all know how difficult it has become, especially today, to be in service of others. So I ask myself, can this fear be replaced by courage? Can this silence be replaced by compassion? And that's when Save Life Foundation was born, with one urgent goal: to get India its first ever Good Samaritan law, a law that would protect and insulate anyone who stepped forward to help a road crash victim. But let me be clear, bringing change in a country of 1.4 billion people doesn't happen just because you feel strongly about something. The moment we proposed a solution, resistance came fast. Police showed us the door. Senior bureaucrats told us it would be misused, and politicians thought it was too risky. Everywhere I turned, there were roadblocks. But this time, I refused to take no for an answer. For 4 years, we researched, we analyzed data, we built a legal case, and petitioned the Supreme Court of India. We even ran national campaigns, met politicians. We showed media the lives lost, but also the ones saved, because someone took the risk to help. We advocated, we pleaded, and sometimes we just sat in silence outside courtrooms, waiting for the judgment. It is March 30th, 2016, 9 years since Shivam's passing. It's 10:25 a.m. I'm standing in court number 10 in the Supreme Court of India. The courtroom is buzzing, lawyers whispering, clerks organizing files, reporters checking their notes. I'm standing still, but inside, my heart is pounding. After years of relentless effort, countless meetings, and doors shut in my face, the moment is here. The judge begins to speak. His voice is calm, deliberate. This court recognizes the need to protect Good Samaritans who help road crash victims. He begins reading the judgment. A chill runs down my spine. My eyes well up. The words continue, but my mind locks on to one thing. We did it. A citizen, not a politician or a billionaire, but a citizen just got a national law passed. A law that could save thousands of lives. Something inside me takes flight. The weight of years spent pushing against resistance, knocking on closed doors, standing outside courtrooms, it all breaks loose. I walk out of the courtroom, lightheaded, and give the biggest hug to Indu Malhotra, a brilliant lawyer, who fittingly goes on to become a judge of the very court that just delivered this historic ruling. That day, I finally felt the sky. Today, the Good Samaritan law, once just an improbable idea, is now a national law in India. Thank you. It shields and empowers bystanders who help road crash victims without fear. And every week, we hear from families, government officials, even strangers who write to us with stories of lives saved because someone stopped to help. But this was only the beginning. Building on the momentum and insights from this landmark reform, we developed the Zero Fatality Corridor Solution, a program built from the ground up. From crash analysis to community engagement to rapid trauma care, it's a 360-degree model that transforms high-risk roads into some of the safest corridors in India, reducing deaths by up to 70% on more than a dozen highways. The program is currently being scaled by Save Life to 100 deadliest highways and districts across India in close partnership with the Government of India. These reforms weren't achieved through blueprints drawn in offices alone. They came from putting our ear to the ground, listening closely to the people living the problem, and respecting the cultural and socio-political realities that shape how people behave and what they believe in. Whether it's understanding why a police officer couldn't enforce a rule, or why a villager hesitates to use a crosswalk, every solution we designed was shaped by empathy, by context, and a deep commitment to relevance. And now, countries across South and Southeast Asia are reaching out, not just to learn from us, but to bring these solutions to their own roads. Class of 2025, you've chosen one of the most critical missions of our time, public health. But if you're here, and as Ashish already mentioned, you probably already know that progress in this space is going to be rarely swift. Whether you're battling misinformation, broken systems, or bureaucratic apathy, you'll often be met with, "This is how it's always been." That's the most dangerous sentence in the world. This is how it's always been. The world doesn't change when we accept what is. It changes when we insist on what it should be. And insisting doesn't always mean pushing louder or harder. It also means listening deeper, putting your ear to the ground, understanding the cultural and social nuances that shape people's behaviors, their choices, and resistance to change. It means showing up not just with evidence, but with empathy. Because real solutions are not built in labs and policy rooms. They are built in communities through trust, humility, and shared ownership. And yes, you will be dismissed. You'll be told you're too young, too radical, too naive. And that's when you'll have a choice to let rejection define your limits or let it redraw your map. So here's what I ask of you today. When your idea is dismissed, speak it again. When your project is underfunded, make it visible. When your heart is breaking from loss, turn it into a movement. Do not wait for courage to arrive. Build it brick by brick. You've been trained to think critically, to act ethically, and to lead wisely. But what you need most in the real world is the resilience to show up when it's hard and the courage to keep going when it's heartbreaking. And above all, the humility to listen first, because listening might just be your most powerful tool for change. Seeing this incredible community today, I'm reminded of what my mentor and co-founder of Save Life, Krishan Mehta, often tells me. Never say no to an outstretched hand. We often celebrate resilience as standing tall on our own. But the truth is, the most courageous thing you can do is to let yourself be supported, to lean into the strength of your community, whoever that may be for you. Family doesn't always look the same. For me, it's my parents. For you, it might be a partner, a sibling, or a friend who's always had your back. I still remember those freezing winter mornings in Delhi, fog so thick you could barely see a few feet ahead. And my father, without fail, driving me across the city on his scooter to reach an exam center on time. Not a single complaint, just steady hands on the handlebar and quiet determination. And my mother, who even today catches the smallest flicker of sadness on my face, even before I know it's there, and just holds the space for me to listen and lift me up. Her care has been the gentle net beneath every risk I've taken. So, as you go out into the world, full of ambition and purpose, remember this: it is okay to reach out. It is okay to be held. And it is more than okay to let love in all its forms carry you forward. To the class of 2025, may your work be bold, may your compassion be louder than your fear, and may you always remember, when the world says no, it's just a detour. You still have the sky. Thank you. Come on up.
All right. So now you know why we all thought he would be an extraordinary commencement speaker, because there are a few themes in his work that I just want to highlight for a second before I present Piyush Tiwari with our Public Health Champion Award. The relentlessness, the not taking a no for an answer has been a through line in so much of his work. But one of the things I have personally been most impressed with, I visited his office in Delhi, and he shows me pictures of communities where a highway runs through that community and people were getting killed all the time trying to cross the highway. And instead of coming up with a super technical engineering solution, you do need a super technical engineering solution, he goes and meets with people in that community. He talks to them about why they need to get from one part of the road to the other, one side of the road to the other. What would work for them? And that deep engagement in the community, plus the technical expertise of great engineering and great design, is how you make change. And I think that is the essence of public health. That yes, public health is super technical and you got to be able to read data and you got to be able to look at models and you have to understand those things. Without that, you are ineffective. But without engaging compassionately and deeply with people in the lives that they lead, your effectiveness is misguided. And one of the things that I have been most impressed by with Save Life and really with Piyush is his ability to bring those two things together. So the Public Health Champion Award is the highest honor bestowed by our school. It honors individuals whose work reflects a commitment to the mission of the school with leadership in public health, furthering health and health equity around the world. And I am very proud this year to give the Public Health Champion Award to the CEO of the Save Life Foundation, Piyush Tiwari. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for. So we are now going to move to the degree presentation. And so the people are going to stand up. I'm going to ask Susan Chan, a member of our corporation, to give out the degrees for the bachelor's students. And we'll get started. Thank you.
We will now present diplomas to students who have earned a Bachelor of Arts with a concentration in public health.
Punava Alam. Christine E. Elsendor. Madeline Araba Amotu. Sydney Elizabeth Asnes. Omar Ahmed Atia. Samuel Tay Mensa Badu. Crystal Giaban. Benicio True Beatty. Caitlin Ray Chan. Kate M. Chiang. Rohan Srisai Cherukuru. Hélène Comer. Madeline Day. Haley Michelle Dorsonville. Ava Delia Phyllis. Mallory Go. Cole Allen Griscom. Anusha Gupta. Abria Hamburg. Shaniqua Leanne Claire Hodgson. Juliette Iwani Hopgood. Graham C. Huntington. Chloe Yenna Kim. Minche Taylor Kim. Catherine Lee Knowles. Eliza Goldie Copans. Adelaide W. Liebhart. Greta Marie List. Emma Lowe. Campbell Meredith Lowy. Byron Zachary Liu.
Kainoa Shane Moruoka. Kira Lee McCarthy. Nicholas McCarthy Balash. Mason Ryan Mead. Phoebe Mustaka. Angelica Santos Mrocek. Saraí Ramirez Morillo. Lucy Negatu. Devin Reese Newman. Jade Lee Nunez. Mirna Sofia Ortiz San Miguel. Ben Osagie Isaiah Otoadesi. Torben John Parker. Kushi T. Patel. Melissa Rebecca Ponce. Arpan Singh Randhawa. Audrey Elizabeth Roach. Julia Elizabeth Rodriguez. Jessica Alicia Romero. Sarah Michelle Santa Cruz. Violeta Suarez. Yulia Velhan. Dian Narendra Volahanta Rakutumalala. Kanan Zaidat. Monica Jang.
Hawa Gendiello. Jaden Didymus. James Bartholomew Hearn. Nastara Nawa Ibrahimi.
Dolores Rosa Maldonado. Alexandra Tucker. We will now present diplomas to students who have earned a Bachelor of Science with a concentration in statistics.
Chris Demetrios Korkoulakos.
Neil Mehta. Rayan Owadi. We will now acknowledge our graduate students who received their diplomas in ceremonies earlier this weekend. We invite the graduates who earned a doctoral degree in behavioral and social health sciences to the stage. Marcusel Mercedes.
Anna Maria Malakani. John Gigayoma.
William Richard Nardi. We invite the graduates who earned a doctoral degree in biostatistics to the stage.
Gari Manoj Kamat.
We invite the graduates who earned a doctoral degree in epidemiology to the stage. Bo Young. We invite the graduates who earned a doctoral degree in health services research to the stage. Eunhae Grace O.
We invite the graduate who has earned a Master of Arts in Biostatistics to the stage.
Morgan Cunningham.
We invite the graduates who have earned a Master of Science in Biostatistics to please come to the stage.
Thomas Boyd Arnold. Yin Yu Chan. Miao Yan Chen. Yunnan Chen. Jiahao Chui. Zhaoxiang Ding. Pei Rong Hao. Diamin Ladanica Sherelle Hawkins. Yingji Huang. Yingchu Huang. Yingshi Kong. Maya Lindner Liao.
William Chien. Michael Lewis Stewart. Rachel Tomasek Yost. Ding Suan Zhang. We invite the graduates who have earned an accelerated Master of Public Health degree for clinicians to the stage. Akashlina Malik. Kavya Mohankumar. Asta Deepak Sirwani. We invite the graduates who have earned a Master of Public Health to the stage.
Bryson Adams. Janelle Renee Barnett. Emma Marie Beyer. Sarah Belay. Chloe L. Biddleman. Eliana Ruth Blumberg. Julia Brownig. Michaela Byers. Matthew Campos. Blythe Bernice Gully Chen. Levi Cherif. Xin Yu Deng. Michaela Dotson. Riley Pardo Duffin. Clarissa Lucinda Garcia. Nathan Garcia Diaz. Ava Glazier. Gabi Gonzalez. Reagan Gregory. Leroy Griffiths. Danish Gunawan. Soraya Sophie Hamidzada. Natalie Robion Hampton. Michaela Hickmon. Julia Elizabeth Houston. Nazifa Ibrahim. Hadia Chaya Jagrup. Morgan Jones. Joseph Benjamin Khan. Ellie Karniadakis. Emma Coiler. Alyssa Kim. Kayla Jessie Kinsler. Jennifer Latham. Maxwell Neil LeMay. Sage Lillian Lefebvre. Joseph Matthew Lazinski. Ching Rong Lee.
Doha Mati. Zoe Maxwell. Ariel Page Montague. Kirsten Brianna Moore. Menaka Naidu. Allison Naranya. Isha Ashish Patel. Trinity Faith Perkins. Maria Piroccini. Jacqueline Partita. Kamila Rajabova. Blaine Leslie Ramalho. Mina Sarmas. Rebecca Saunders. Molly Siegel. Akshita Singh. Simran Singh. Petronea Elizabeth Smith. Hope Tiboni. Liney Ibinka Lawars Tuboku Metzger. Munachimso Ugochukwu Ugo. Brooke Karen Uri. Anna Isabella Utrata. Vivian Uzechi. Derek DeQuadre Webb. Jocelyn Rejie Yang. Sirui Zhang. Peiting Christy Zhao. We invite the graduates who have earned an online Master of Public Health degree to the stage.
Lauren Suntani Dodds. Jenna Rose Grossi. Olivia Healy. Courtney Janaea Hudson. Yvette D. Ibarra. Sara Jalilati. Grace Keller. Austin Lax. Taylor Lopez. Tao Ocean Lu.
Sean McLean. Linda Rachel Niameo. Jordan Alexis Turin.
The class of 2025, everybody. One more time for the class of 2025. It's been a big weekend, where as we wrap it up, I want to again give a huge thanks to the families who've stuck with these folks, the friends who might as well be family, what I hope you heard today from our speaker from Piyush Tiwari is there are lots of big problems in the world, and you don't have to be a billionaire. You don't even have to be a government official to go solve those problems. And what I would ask all of you is to think about what motivates you, what drives you, and go solve those problems on behalf of yourself, on behalf of your classmates, on behalf of all of us. Thank you for all of you that you do. Congratulations to the class of 2025. We are now going to move to the reception. Reception is right outside. There's food over there. You can bring your food back. But I just want to say I remain very excited and very hopeful about the future of public health. And nothing makes me more hopeful than seeing all of you. Congratulations, everybody.